These 7 political scandals not only shook nations but also reshaped the entire course of history. Political scandals have a way of captivating our attention, making us question the very foundations of our society. But what makes them so impactful? Is it the sense of betrayal, the abuse of power, or the sheer audacity of those involved? Whatever the reason, one thing is certain: political scandals have the power to change the course of history. In today's video, we're counting down 7 of the most influential political scandals that left an indelible mark on our world. From corruption and bribery to deceit and cover-ups, these scandals have had far-reaching implications that still resonate with us today. But before we dive into the list, it's essential to understand the broader context in which these scandals unfold. The relationship between citizens and their governments is built on trust. Trust that those in power will act in the best interests of the people they serve. Political scandals, however, have a way of eroding that trust, often leaving deep scars that can take years to heal. Trust in government is a delicate thing, and once it's broken, it can be challenging to repair. Over the years, we've seen countless examples of political scandals that have led to widespread disillusionment and outrage. When those in power abuse their authority, it's not just a personal failing, it's a betrayal of the public's trust. One of the most significant consequences of political scandals is the erosion of faith in institutions. When scandals erupt, they often reveal systemic flaws and weaknesses that can be exploited by those seeking to undermine the system. This can lead to a rise in cynicism, as people begin to question whether their leaders are truly working in their best interests. In extreme cases, political scandals can even lead to the downfall of entire governments, or the reshaping of political narratives. The consequences can be far-reaching, with repercussions felt for generations to come. As we explore the 7 scandals on our list, you'll see just how profoundly they've impacted our world. But what drives individuals to engage in such behavior? Is it a lust for power, a desire for wealth, or a belief that they're above the law? Whatever the motivation, the outcome is often the same: a trail of destruction that can leave innocent people caught in the crossfire. It's essential to recognize that political scandals are not isolated events. They're often symptoms of a broader problem, a sign of deeper issues within the system. By examining these scandals, we can gain a better understanding of the flaws that exist and work towards creating a more just and equitable society. The 7 scandals we're about to discuss have all had a profound impact on our world, but they've also served as a warning, a reminder that those in power must be held accountable for their actions. Watergate, the Iran-Contra Affair, the Lavon Affair, the Cambridge Analytica scandal, the Dreyfus Affair, the Profumo Affair, and the Abscam sting operation. Each of these scandals has its own unique story, its own cast of characters, and its own set of consequences. Let's start with Watergate, perhaps one of the most infamous scandals in modern history. In the early 1970s, President Richard Nixon's administration was rocked by a scandal that would eventually lead to his resignation. It began with a break-in at the Democratic National Committee headquarters at the Watergate complex in Washington, D.C. But as the story unfolded, it became clear that the burglary was just the tip of the iceberg, a small part of a much larger web of deceit and corruption. The Iran-Contra Affair, which occurred in the 1980s, was another scandal that would shake the foundations of American politics. Senior officials in the Reagan administration were accused of secretly selling arms to Iran and using the proceeds to fund anti-Sandinista rebels in Nicaragua. The scandal would lead to numerous investigations, resignations, and even criminal prosecutions. The Lavon Affair, which took place in the 1950s, was a particularly damaging scandal for the Israeli government. Israeli agents had been caught planting bombs in Egyptian cities, attempting to blame the attacks on the Muslim Brotherhood. The scandal led to widespread outrage and ultimately the resignation of the Israeli defense minister. The Cambridge Analytica scandal, which came to light in 2018, was a stunning example of how personal data could be used to influence elections. The firm, which had ties to the Trump campaign, was accused of harvesting millions of Facebook profiles without consent and using the information to create targeted political ads. The Dreyfus Affair, which occurred in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, was a scandal that would rock the very foundations of the French Republic. A Jewish army officer named Alfred Dreyfus was falsely accused of treason, sparking a wave of anti-Semitism across the country. The scandal would ultimately lead to a re-examination of the French justice system. The Profumo Affair, which took place in the 1960s, was a scandal that would bring down the British government. A Tory minister named John Profumo was accused of having an affair with a model named Christine Keeler, who was also involved with a Soviet spy. The scandal would lead to Profumo's resignation and a significant shift in British politics. The Abscam sting operation, which was conducted in the late 1970s and early 1980s, was a particularly daring operation. The FBI created a fake Arab sheikh and used him to bribe several American politicians, including several members of Congress. The scandal would lead to numerous arrests and convictions. One of the most dramatic moments in any of these scandals was the discovery of the Nixon Tapes. In 1973, it was revealed that President Nixon had secretly recorded conversations in the Oval Office, including conversations about the Watergate break-in. The tapes would ultimately lead to Nixon's resignation, but they also marked a turning point in the investigation. The dramatic moment was a game-changer, setting the stage for future events. It marked a shift in the public's perception of the scandal and ultimately led to Nixon's downfall. As we reflect on these 7 scandals, it's essential to remember the significance of accountability in politics. When those in power abuse their authority, it's up to us to hold them accountable. By examining these scandals, we can learn valuable lessons about the importance of transparency, integrity, and the rule of law. In conclusion, these 7 political scandals have had a profound impact on our world, shaping the course of history in ways both large and small. They serve as a reminder that those in power must be held accountable for their actions, and that the public's trust must be earned and maintained. What's your favorite political scandal? Share it with us in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more insightful content on history and politics.